Hey y'all, so I'm going to answer the question today. If you're starting a nonprofit, do you really need a website? Let's get into it. Hey y'all, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. I help new and small nonprofits get up and running. If you need help, you should be subscribed to this channel, especially if you're trying to start a nonprofit and you're trying to figure out how to raise money for that nonprofit. And so I want to tackle the question today. Does your new nonprofit need a website? Because of all the things you have to pay for, all the things you have to do when you get started, the question is should I be focused on that? Is that even worth my time and my effort? So what I want to talk about today, first of all, I'm going to answer that question. And then second of all, just kind of give you 5 reasons for the answer to my question. And we'll go from there. And if you are in the startup phase, you are starting your nonprofit and you need step-by-step help, make sure you check out my video, How to Start a Nonprofit. I'm linking it above so you can access that video. So let me just answer the question right away. Yes, you need a website, even if you are a new nonprofit. And I'm about to give you 5 reasons why you need a website. Also, I know your next question is going to be, well, when? When is the best time for me to create my nonprofit's website? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer that at the end of the video. All right. So I want you to wait to the end and I'm going to give you some insight around what's the best time to start your website. Reason number 1, it shows your legitimacy because you're able to show kind of who's behind the nonprofit. So if you do have a website, it's really important if you're super new and not well known to have the list of the board members on the website. And if you have any staff and any volunteers or anybody who's working with the organization, it's important to show their names. And it's even more important to show their faces. So if you can get really good pictures of everyone, that would be good too. It's good for a couple reasons. First of all, it just shows your legitimacy that you're actually a legit nonprofit. You're not just a one-person show who's just running it behind the scenes, but there's actually a governing body, as it's supposed to be, who is making decisions and running the nonprofit. It also just shows strength in numbers. It shows that it's not just a one-person thing, so your likelihood of being successful is less because it's just one person. But if you have numbers, it shows you have people who are actually believing in this mission, people who are actually rallying behind you and can get things done. So even if, I'm just going to say this because I like to be real on this channel, okay? We're not going to be fake. We're going to talk about what it's really like to start a nonprofit. In a lot of cases, when you're new and you have people on your board, they may not be doing anything, right? But you having them on the website still shows your legitimacy because you have those numbers. So yes, it may not actually reflect all the people who are actually willing to do the work, because it's hard to get new boards motivated to do anything, but at least it shows to the outside world, to a person who doesn't know anything about you and who's just looking at your website, that you actually have strength in numbers. And I'll just say this, it doesn't even have to be just your board. Even if you only have 3 people on your board, if you have for example, a strong group of volunteers, you have events where people always show up, right, as volunteers, you could put those people on your website. If you have staff already, if you're paying people or paying contractors to do some of the work directly with your participants, put those people on the website as well, okay? Number 2, the reason why you want a website, because it can show how active you are and it can show how relevant you are, right? So a website is unique in that you can absolutely control when and how people see your content. When you think about social media, and I do talk a lot about social media and the importance of leveraging it for your nonprofit, especially because most of it is free. But when you think about a social media channel, you don't control when people see your post. And that can be really frustrating. It can be really frustrating when Facebook, for example, doesn't show your post to the people who are following you. Or you put out a post and you feel like no one sees it. Or you feel like you have to pay for ads in order for people to see the information that you're putting out. But for your website, once people hit your website, they see it, right? Once people find you, you have the opportunity to lay everything out for them. So that's why a website is so important, because you can present your story or you can present your case to the world in the way you want to. So I suggest you use it as a way to show people that you're active. So keep it updated. If you have recent events or different things going on, then make sure you have like a calendar of events, or make sure you have like blog posts on there that shows the work that you did. Even if it's just like a thank you post. Thank you for those who came out to our last event, or we just did a mentoring session and it was great, and here's a recap of what we did. People are going to go to your website to see if you're a legit organization. And when they can see the work that you're doing, if they see it's recent, if they see vivid pictures, they are building more confidence, whether they realize it or not, in your organization. And they're much more willing to get behind you and support you when they see that kind of thing. The third reason why you want to have a website for your new nonprofit is strictly for verification purposes. So a lot of times when you're doing filings, let's say for your state, or if you're doing it for trademarking, or for your IRS application for 501c3 status, if you put your website on there, they're going to look at your website. So it's a way also for you to kind of validate who you say you are as an organization. So you put out there that your charitable purpose is this on your tax form, then if you put your website on there, they're absolutely going to look and see if that website aligns with your charitable purpose. So first of all, make sure that it does, because if you put your website on there, they're going to look. But also it just gives extra evidence of who you are as an organization. So it can help your application be more well-rounded if you show the evidence of the work that you're doing. Another example could be with trademarking. Right? So if you're using your name already, the trademarking person is going to look and see if you're using it, if it's in market or if it's in service, right? They're going to see, are you actually using the name as you say you're using it? And so that again is evidence for filings. Number 4, it is helpful for grant funders and for donors who are checking you out. Now, I'm going to give you a little story. So in my regular job, I actually assist some national foundations in some of the work that they do. We help provide technical assistance and we do some advising for those foundations. So in some instances, they'll ask what organizations are doing this, or who's out here working with this population. And the first place that I go when I'm asked that question is Google. And then I may go on Facebook, then I may go on LinkedIn. But I go to Google first when I'm looking for organizations who are doing a specific type of work. So when you are starting your nonprofit, it's really important that you flesh out the work that you do so it can be found through Google search. So it's important to have a lot of web pages that have keywords that talk about the work that you do, right? So if you work in the foster care space like I do, foster care, child abuse and neglect, foster parents, kinship care, those are the types of keywords, trauma informed, that will come up, right? Youth engagement. I'm just throwing it out there because these are terms we talk about all the time. And so if you have a lot of posts or information on your website that have those keywords, you will begin to come up in search, especially if you're in a certain area, right? So if I'm looking for youth organizations in Texas, if you have all the keywords on your website, you will begin to come up in search. Now, I told that long story just to say, like, you want to be found, you want to be discovered. It is another way to advertise your nonprofit. And when people come to your website and it looks organized and it has a good flow, and you actually show the impact of your work, you show pictures, you talked about the events, like I said before, you have articles that talk about the work that you've done with your participants, then people are like, this seems like this is a good organization, let me find out more. So you want to be discoverable. When you're asking for donors to donate to you, when you're doing fundraising campaigns and you're asking people to give, a lot of these people you may be asking may have never heard of your organization. So a lot of times when people, before they decide to give to an organization, they're going to do their research. And one of the things they're going to do is a Google search, and they're going to find your website and they're going to scrub your website. So you want to make sure it's up so people feel comfortable giving to your organization. Sometimes people need a lot of convincing to give, especially if you're new and they've never heard of you. And having that website up can really, really help kind of tip them over the edge to make the decision to give to you. Now, I just want to say this. When I'm talking about having keywords, I'm not saying have pages with a bunch of like words on it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you need to have multiple pages that mention the same topics over and over again. You don't want people to have to scroll a lot to read. Like, your web pages should be enough packed in that they don't really have to scroll down to get it. But you want to have multiple pages that talk about the work that you do. And one of the best ways to do this is having a blog where you can talk about the issues that you're addressing. You can bring up those keywords in different articles or different things that you talk about on your website. So I'm not saying like on your homepage, put a whole full list of everything that you do and throw all your keywords in there. Please do not do that. And don't say that Tiffany at Boss on a Budget told you to do that. When people first come to your page, they should see your mission. They should know exactly what you do and the impact that you make. And then they can click around to other pages to get more information. So I just want to put that out there because I don't want you to think that I'm saying put everything on one page. And the fifth reason why you should have a website is because you need a place to collect donations. Now, there are a bunch of different ways you can collect donations, right? It doesn't have to be through your website, but it makes a lot of sense to have a website so you can put a donate button on that webpage so people can go to your website and they can give. Now, if you're doing like a lot of social media campaigns or you're doing email campaigns where you're asking people to give, you can just send them to any link. It doesn't have to be on your website, but it just really helps to have your website up so that people can directly donate on that page, especially if they want to look around and find out more about you first. So it's important to have a website up so you can have a stationary place where people can go to and donate. I'll just say this, and it's a whole nother video to talk about how to set up like donation platforms and how to get money. There are multiple ways you can do this. You can have separate links that don't even interact with your website. You can have a donate button on your website and a donate page. You can have widgets. You can have all kinds of things beyond just only having a stationary donate button on your website. But again, it's really important for you to have a place where when people come to learn about you, they see donate somewhere on that page. And it's important for you to make that button stand out on that page and that it's on every single web page that people visit. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to answer the question, when should you create your website? My opinion on this, as soon as you incorporate, meaning as soon as you say to the state that you're in, hey, we're an official nonprofit, then you should go ahead and start developing your website. It does not have to be super fancy and it doesn't have to be super detailed. As you go along and flesh out your mission and your vision and your programming, you're going to update it accordingly, but you need to have some kind of structure up and ready to go for your website as soon as possible. Because when you're first starting out, you're going to be meeting people, you're going to be talking about the work that you do, and you want to have some place to send them, right? You want to have some place where you can say, check out our website. This is the kind of stuff that we have. Now, again, a Facebook page or Instagram page is good for that. But for the reasons that I mentioned before, the website is something you can make your own, where you can control what people see and how they see it. So it's really important to have both, to have social media and have a website, and to refer people to your website. And also with website features, you can track more easily how people behave on your website, how long they stay on your website, where they come from. All that kind of stuff with the analytics is easier to track on your own website than through like social media or something like that. So as soon as you incorporate, once again, you should be starting up your website so that people can find you. All right, so I hope this information was helpful. I'll probably do some more videos just to talk about like what should go on your website and things like that. But if you do need help with your nonprofit, make sure you visit me at www.bossonabudget.com for more help. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.